We start tonight near Seagrove, where generations of potters have dug Piedmont clay, formed it into the shapes of jugs, jars, pitchers, bowls, and dinnerware. They throw salt or ashes on these forms, and then they fire them in groundhog kilns that they blast off with lightwood, that resin-soaked pine that grows around there. Sid Luck can reflect on 4 generations of potters before him and look with pride on children and grandchildren who are following his passion for making pottery.
Thank you so much. I'm most honored to receive this award tonight, and it's a real pleasure to see lots of friends and family sitting out in the audience, and I'd like to offer my thanks to all of you, but especially I want to thank the folks that have made this possible: Secretary Klutz, Wayne Martin, Sally Peterson, Terry Zugg, who nominated me, the Pine Cone Center here for its work, and the many members of the Department of Cultural Resources and North Carolina Arts Council, but most of all, my wife, Debbie, she has been very considerate and kind and helpful, and she is my techie, the main techie in the family. But thank you very, very much.
Sid, we're going to bring you over here. I'll hold this for you. Your wheel and your clay await you. But I think, is your wife going to be angry with us for messing up your suit? I think so.
This is an apron that many of my apprentices signed at our first kiln opening that we had. We call it the Luck Legacy Kiln Opening, and so it's all signed by them.
What date does it have on there?
2000.
2000, wow. So you brought your wheel, got your clay. Now, while you're getting that ready, I want to ask you a question about learning, because I'm going to be sitting here over your shoulder asking you questions and trying to figure out what you're doing, and you're going to be explaining it to me. Is that how you learned? Did you get next to some potter and ask, is this where you put the clay, or is that how you acquired your skills, or how did that work?
Actually, I was born into a pottery family, so from the time I was big enough to know what was going on, I observed my father, my parents. I observed my cousins, the Coles, making pottery. So my father, when I got to be 10 years old, said that idle hands were the devil's workshop, and that my brother and I, who happens to be in the audience, didn't need to be we didn't need to be near swimming holes and fishing holes at when the crops got laid by and school was out. So he started me to doing this, and I observed a lot of the old potters that I grew up with, including my family, my father, and so that's how I learned.
So sort of by osmosis?
Yeah,
that's a chemistry term.
Right. Well, I can't get this to stick back on there. But it was.
We need your techie.
Yeah, I didn't have a techie then. See that I learned to make pottery in the middle 50s, so that was some time ago, before the tech age finally. All right, here we go. I think.
So now, how did you know how much of that clay to pull off?
Didn't I just wanted to make some piece large enough so that folks, out there could see it, so I just arbitrarily cut off a piece here. But in general, if I'm working in my shop, each piece that I make has a specific amount, and well, like a half-gallon jug or pitcher would have approximately 3.5 to 4 pounds in it, and so we actually weigh all the pieces all the balls that we use to make pieces in the shop. Slow down, booger.
Now, we saw the face jug over there. I think you're gonna make something that's a functional piece tonight.
Yes, I'm going to see if I can just make a vase that could be used for for flowers, or it could be used for holding water, or holding any kind of material that one would want to put in it. All right. Yeah, the first thing I have to do is get this centered up so I can pull it up, and because I'm doing this in a hurry, I probably won't get it centered as good as I would like, but I'm gonna live with it.
So your thumbs are going down deep into the clay.
Yes, and I'm spreading the clay apart, and you have to know how far to go down in it and not go too far. If you go too far, you've got a thin bottom. And I've had several women tell me, I've had women work with me, and one of the things that a beginner does is mash too far down in there and get a thin bottom, and I've had.
I'm gonna have to censor you, Sid.
That's right. I've had several of them tell me that I could tell them they had a thin bottom anytime I wanted to.
So when you're pulling this up, I mean, what are the qualities that you're trying to achieve here? I mean, how do you know how thick or thin to make it?
Well, a good potter turns thin, and that would be for something the size of the piece that I'm going to make here, you'd want the walls to be about 1/8 of an inch thick. And that's the mark of a good potter. The thinner you can make a piece, the better potter you are. So how thin you can turn is a measure of the quality of the potter, I guess, as well as the pot. Okay, well, let me get going here. How much time do I have so I can?
We need a drum roll.
We'll keep pulling. I'm going to stand up and do a major pull on this thing.
All right. Wow.
It will make it grow up some.
All right.
All right, we'll try another time, and then I'll put some shape on it, and we'll say it's a vase. I'm gonna smooth the top out here a little because it got a little squirrely on me there. Okay, now this I call a chip. The contemporary potters, and there are several of you out that I know already out there, call this a rib. But I grew up out in the country, and we used old chips off of slabs from the sawmill, and so we just called them chips. But they're for smoothing and shaping. See how I can bring that up there and shape it.
That's good.
And one more push, we can give it a little more of a bulge or bulbous look down here. And bend it over a little like that. And one of the things I like to tell people when they're starting to do pottery, because it takes a good long while to get to where you make really, really smooth pieces. If you have some inconsistency in the top, then a good way to conceal that is to put what I call flutes, or when I deal with the kids, like elementary kids, I tell them it's the girly thing. You put ruffles on top of the thing, and it hides the inconsistency that you've got in it. So if you put just one, you could have a picture, though, if you put a handle on it. But if you put them all the way around, then it'll be sort of roughly. So this could be a nice flower vase that you could decorate your home with. All right.
Excellent. Thank you, Sid. That's fantastic. I'm not going to shake your hand.
I understand.
Sid Locke, ladies and gentlemen.